Welcome back to The Witch Show. This time, we're diving into symbols, rumors, and some of the creepiest conspiracies lurking in the shadows. Red shoes, McDonald's mystery meat, and the idea Soylent Green wasn't fiction, but foreshadowing.
Oh, finally!
Okay, stop.
What?
Do we have to do this every single
It's part
episode?
of the
Like we
thing.
always got to do the skit where you're
Yeah.
in here? Like, can't you just leave?
Wow, rude.
Yeah, okay, well, maybe it was a little rude, but
A little
I'm
rude?
kind of
No,
getting
it's
very annoyed with
definitely
you.
rude. Well, I mean, it's part of the show, dude.
Yeah, well, is it like part of the show that we could edit
Yeah,
out?
dude,
Like,
it's
do we
literally
always have
the
to do
biggest
this?
part of the show.
It's not the biggest part of the show. It's
the
just a
biggest
part of the show,
Dude,
and it's only the
people
beginning
only
part.
listen to the show for this part.
No, they don't. They listen for the other stuff, the cooler things that
No,
I
they-
talk about
I'm
that you're
pretty
not
sure
a
they
part
come
of.
here for this.
You're telling me that they come here
dude.
every episode just
Yeah,
to
for
hear
this
you and me
exact
bicker at
moment.
each other.
Because they think that I'm funny and you're a stupid idiot.
I'm
and
the
nobody
idiot. I'm the
likes
one
you.
that comes up with everything. I'm the
You're
guy
not the
that
guy
writes
comes
the
up with
show.
everything. I'm the one that comes up with the conspiracies, bro.
You don't come up with the
And you're always
conspiracies.
Like,
I write the
that's
conspiracies.
Not real. That can't be real. Look at me.
Oh yeah, I sound just like that.
Yeah, dude. If you close your eyes and I say that, it sounds just like we're actually literally the same person.
No, dude, you're a freaking idiot, and I can't stand you. Sometimes.
Whatever, dude. I'm rubber and you're glue.
Okay, what are we, 5? Just say the freaking thing that you were
Oh,
gonna
great!
say.
I got your freaking permission now, dude. Thank you,
Okay,
dude.
you want me to take your mic away again?
No, dude,
Are we going to do
leave my
that
mic
same
alone.
thing that we did last
No,
time?
dude, we don't have
Just
to.
going to come
Okay,
over
fine.
and
I'll
take
do
your
the
freaking
thing.
mic away.
And I'll say what I was gonna
Oh,
say.
okay, good, great.
And
Thank you.
the
Carry
thing that
on.
I was gonna say was that you're an idiot, dude.
All right, you know what? We're just going to start over. We're going to start the whole show over, and we're going to pretend that this stupid little argument between you and me
Oh, can you
never
actually
happened.
do that without
Okay,
being me?
is that good with you?
Yeah, dude. As long as you're not being a freaking jerk
All right,
anymore.
dude. I won't be a jerk.
Okay, dude. Freaking prove it and say sorry.
All right, fine. I'm sorry.
Wait, really? You're actually sorry?
Yeah, dude. I freaking love you, man.
Aw, gross. You don't say that.
I do say that. I also say, welcome to The Witch Show, where smart meets stupid and somehow makes sense. My name's Georgie, and I'm thinking out loud, so you don't have to.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Witch Show. From what I think seriously to you.
WITS, The Witch Show.
Cool story, bro.
Welcome back to The Witch Show. Thank you so much for joining me. My name's Georgie. I'm the host. You already know that if you listen to the show frequently. And if you're one of my frequent listeners, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. You are the reason the show continues to exist. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share it with your friends, tell everybody about The Witch Show. We are always doing our best to try to make it more interesting for our listeners. With that being said, every so often in the conspiracy world, a strange little detail resurfaces. Quiet, subtle, but chilling, if you know what you're looking for. The red shoe. At first glance, it's nothing. Photos float around of politicians, religious leaders, and Hollywood celebrities wearing bright scarlet footwear. Popes have worn them. Powerful senators have been photographed in them. Even the occasional actor or musician has stepped onto the red carpet in striking blood-colored shoes. Most people scroll past and never think twice. It's just fashion. But to conspiracy theorists, those shoes, those red ones, well, they're not a statement of style. They're a signal. The claim is simple, but disturbing. The red shoe is a badge of belonging, a quiet nod to those initiated into an exclusive network of power. It's not about what the shoes look like, it's about what it means. To believers, red shoes point towards occult rituals, secret clubs, and ceremonies of blood and power. The kind of thing that ties together the elite across politicians, religion, and entertainment. Some trace the symbols all the way back to ancient times. In Rome societies, red footwear was often a mark of wealth and status. These things were reserved for the emperors and generals and those who earned favor with the gods. Blood red dyes were costly, and so the color itself became a symbol of dominance, sacrifice, and divine authority. Over time, those ancients never truly faded. In ritual magic, in alchemy, in religious ceremony, red remained the color of sacrifice, and of power, and of life and death. And then there are the darker whispers. In some circles, the Red Shoe Club is access of participating in rituals so horrific they sound like they're pure nightmares. Shoes, it's said, are dyed red, not with expensive pigments, but with human skin. Trophies created from victims, often children, used as proof of loyalty to the hidden order. The claim is grotesque and almost unthinkable, and yet, like so many conspiracy rumors, it refuses to disappear. Why does this story keep coming back? Why is it always red? Why do these images of world leaders and celebrities smiling for cameras spark such unease when the splash of crimson leather appears at their feet? It's because red isn't neutral, it's visceral. It evokes blood, sacrifice, violence, and ritual. And when the most powerful people in the world are photographed flaunting it, conspiracy culture sees not coincidence, but confusion. The red shoe becomes more than just fashion statements. It becomes an initiation badge. A quiet way of saying, I'm one of you. It's not about the leather or red dye, it's about the code. To believers, it's proof that the elite flaunt their power symbol in plain sight, daring the public to notice, laughing at those who dismiss it as nothing more than a style. And here's where it ties into the larger web. The McDonald's human meat rumor claimed corporations might be secretly feeding us one another. The Pizzagate theory said menus and logos could be coded symbols for trafficking and exploitation. Adrenochrome conspiracies whisper about rituals where suffering is turned into a drug, and the red shoes? They're the sign that ties it all together, a symbol that people accused of these horrors walk among us every day, not hiding in the shadows, but flaunting their power with every step they take. Whether it's papal traditions, high fashion, or just coincidence, it doesn't matter in the world of conspiracy lore, because to those who see the pattern, the red shoe, it's not an accessory, it's a bloodstain. From red shoes to golden arches, the next thread in this web of conspiracy takes us straight into one of the most disturbing rumors to ever hit the fast food world: the McDonald's human meat hoax. In 2014, a headline began to spread like wildfire across the internet. The FBI had supposedly raided McDonald's meat suppliers and discovered human flesh in their freezers. According to the story, the nation's biggest fast food chain, the place where millions of families eat every single day, had been caught serving human meat to unsuspecting customers. It was the kind of shocking claim that bypassed logic and went straight for the gut. The story was fake, of course. Thank God, too, because I love McDonald's cheeseburgers. Anyway, it originated on a satire website, a piece of manufactured clickbait meant to shock and entertain. But the internet has a way of stripping stories of their origins. People saw the headline, shared it without question, and within days, the rumor had outgrown its satirical roots. Forums lit up, videos circulated, conversations at work and school carried the hushed question, did you hear what McDonald's was caught doing? And here's the thing about rumors like this. Once they take root, they almost never die. To this day, people still whisper about mystery meat and joke about McNuggets containing something other than chicken. The hoax may have started as satire, but it tapped into something primal. Our fear of not knowing what we're eating and of placing blind trust into corporations that might not deserve it. Because let's be honest, McDonald's doesn't exactly have a squeaky clean history. The brand has been dogged for decades by accusations of unhealthy practices, like pink slime in the beef, ammonia-treated fillers, chemical preservatives that sound more like lab experiments than food. Add to the urban legends stories of finding bones, fingernails, or worse in the burger, and suddenly, the leap from gross to grotesque doesn't feel so far. The clown mascot, you know, the one with red shoes, the Happy Meal, the golden arches, those aren't just branding. To conspiracy theorists, they are a mask, a brightly colored cover-up for something darker. If corporations are already willing to cut corners by loading their food with chemicals, hormones, and fillers, then why stop there? What lines wouldn't they cross in the name of profit? And that's where the human meat rumor refuses to die. It's not a joke, it's a symbol. It represents the idea that the system feeding us doesn't actually care about us. That what matters is cost, not humanity. And if grinding people into patties saved money or resources, the conspiracy claims that the corporations wouldn't hesitate. Now, when you tie it into other conspiracies, it becomes even creepier. Pizzagate told us that menus and restaurants might be covers for trafficking and ritual. The Red Shoe Club whispers that the elite hide their power symbols in plain sight. Adrenochrome claims the suffering of the innocent is turned into a consumable prize. And here, with McDonald's, we have the ultimate metaphor. The masses fed not just lies, not just chemicals, but perhaps each other. Cannibalism disguised in the most American, most ordinary, most comforting of places. A fast food drive-thru. Personally, one of my own favorites. I love McDonald's. I love their McChickens. I love their cheeseburgers. You ever smash the two together? Have you ever had a McBitchin'? Oh my God, they're so good. Whether or not McDonald's ever touched human meat it's not the point. The point is why so many people believe it could be true. The rumor resonates because it feels like something that could happen in a world where corporations already poison us slowly, with things like dye and sugars and preservatives, while smiling mascots tell our kids to have it your way. That's the paranoia. That's the fear. It's not about a hoax article from 2014. It's about the thought that people feeding us don't see us as customers, or even as humans, but as cattle to be fed, and recycled. And once you open that door in your mind, it's hard to ever look at a McNugget or a happy clown the same way again. Now let's take the unease about food, symbols, and hidden meanings and step straight into one of the most infamous conspiracies of the 21st century, Pizzagate. In 2016, during the heat of the US presidential election, whispers began spreading across internet forums and alt-news websites. A pizza parlor in Washington, D.C., Comet Ping Pong, was suddenly thrusted into a global spotlight. The accusation? That it wasn't just a restaurant serving thin crust pies and craft beer, but the front for a sprawling child trafficking ring allegedly tied to high-ranking politicians, lobbyists, and even global elites. On the surface, it sounded absurd, but the internet began to discuss every crumb. Ordinary words like cheese pizza were reinterpreted as code, allegedly shortened for child pornography, the initials CP. Emails leaked during the elections were scrutinized word by word. The theorists claimed that the mentions of pizza, hot dogs, or pasta weren't culinary chatter, but a hidden language mapping out abuse and trafficking. Then came the logos, a seemingly innocent swirl here, a triangular design there, and suddenly conspiracy forums were ablaze with claims that the FBI files linked these symbols to pedophilic networks. A restaurant menu became a cipher, every word a potential clue, something darker. What most people saw as quirky art or casual conversation, others began to interpret as a random roadmap of depravity hiding in plain sight. The story quickly spiraled out of control. The idea wasn't just that the one restaurant was implicit, it was that countless ordinary spaces, the kinds of places families gathered in without a second thought, might be doubling as a gateway into the elite darkness. Pizza, the very food most people associated with comfort, fun, and childhood joy, was recast as a horrifying symbol of explanation. A child's birthday party food became an alleged code for crime itself. And while the conspiracy was loudly and repeatedly debunked, no evidence was ever found, and the accusations against Comet Ping Pong collapsed. Something eerie happened. The paranoia didn't vanish. For many, the collapse of the association only confirmed their suspicions. Of course there was no evidence. Of course the story was debunked, because, as they saw it, that's exactly how the elites protect themselves. When something gets too close to the truth, it doesn't get investigated. It gets buried. That's the real power of Pizzagate. It wasn't about the restaurant, or one election, or even one conspiracy theory. It created a template, a way of seeing the world where the ordinary things were no longer ordinary. A menu could be a code. A swirl on a sign could be a confession. A child's favorite snack could be a disguise for a monstrous industry. And when you line it up with the other conspiracies we've been exploring, the pattern is chilling. The Red Shoe Club suggests elites using clothing and color as symbols of power. The McDonald's human meat rumors suggest corporations are feeding us grotesque things while hiding behind happy mascots. And Pizzagate shows how something as simple as a slice of pizza might not be dinner at all, but a mask for trafficking and ritual. Food isn't just food. Shoes aren't just shoes. Menus aren't just menus. To believers, they're signs. They're signals. They're breadcrumbs in a trail that leads to something we're not supposed to go to. And that's why Pizzagate refuses to die, even in the face of debunking. Because once you've been taught to read hidden codes in everyday life, everything becomes suspicious. Everything becomes a potential mask. It's not facts that make Pizzagate terrifying. It's the paranoia it leaves behind. That sense that the darkness isn't lurking in a shadowy castle or far off in an island somewhere, but right there, across the table, baked into the pepperoni and hidden in the cheese. And of course, no modern conspiracy web is complete without the infamous words that's been whispered in every corner of the internet. Adrenochrome. For some, it's just an obscure chemical compound and byproduct of adrenaline that can be synthesized in a lab. But for conspiracy theorists, adrenochrome has become something far more sinister. An elixir of power, harvested in the darkest ways imaginable and consumed in secret by the world's most powerful elites. The story goes like this. Adrenochrome is supposedly at its most potent when extracted from the blood of a living victim, especially a child, at the peak of terror. Fear floods the body with adrenaline, and from that state, a rare chemical high is supposedly produced. In the conspiracy narrative, elites orchestrate horrifying rituals designed to produce maximum fear, and from that fear comes their drug of choice. The substance is said not only to grant euphoric psychedelic high, but also acts as an anti-aging serum, a literal fountain of youth. Of course, in reality, adrenochrome is a chemical that scientists can make in a lab, but the conspiracy isn't really about chemistry. It's about symbolism, power, and the idea that the elites thrive off the suffering of others. Whether or not adrenochrome is real in the ways that it's described, the narrative itself is powerful enough to fuel the endless speculations. The connections are eerie, and, to conspiracy believers, impossible to ignore. The Red Shoe Club becomes more than just a strange fashion choice. It's a marker of participation in the ritual, a signal to those in the known. Pizzagate transforms from a bizarre story about pizza parlor into a supposed pipeline, a coded menu that feeds children into the machinery of terror and harvesting. The whispers about McDonald's human meat evolve from a satire hoax into the possibility of cannibalistic cover-ups hidden in plain sight. And at the center of it all, adrenochrome. It's the prize, the forbidden nectar that ties together every accusation of ritual, exploitation, and consumption. Hollywood is often dragged into the adrenochrome mythos. Celebrities who seem to defy age, still youthful after decades in the spotlight, are accused of secretly indulging in the underground substance. Red carpet events, blood red shoes, and even films that reference fountains of youth or drinking blood are woven into the narrative as hidden confessions, as if the truth is constantly being flaunted in our faces under the guise of fiction. The lines blur between horror movies and headlines, and suddenly every offhanded celebrity joke about staying young forever becomes suspicious. What makes the adrenochrome conspiracy so enduring isn't proof, it's the plausibility of secrecy. We know the powerful people gather in secret, we already know this. We know symbols are used by closed groups. We know corporations and governments have lied, hidden, and manipulated for profit. So when you weave together the red shoes, coded pizza menus, fast food hoax, and Hollywood obsessions with youth, the story feels chillingly complete. It feels like the kind of horror that you'd only need to scratch the surface to uncover. Even if every detail of this is fantasy, even if no one has ever consumed a drop of adrenochrome, the narrative hits every single nerve. It ties everything together in a way that's too neat, too symbolic, too creepy to dismiss outright. And that's what makes people shiver. Not because it's proven, but because it sounds like the kind of thing that could happen behind locked doors. Because when power, youth, secrecy, and fear all mix together, you don't need proof to feel the chill. You just need the question about what if. And finally, let's circle back to where dystopian fiction and real-world fear collide. Soylent Green. The 1973 film painted a bleak picture of the future. Overpopulation, food shortage, corporate control, and a single horrifying solution. The poor and the hungry were fed a mass-produced wafer called Soylent Green, a product that kept society going. And in the movie's unforgettable twist, the shocking truth was revealed. Soylent Green is people. What made that line so unforgettable wasn't just its horror, it was its plausibility. Watching the film in the 1970s, the audience left the theater with an uneasy thought. If the world got desperate enough, could corporations really do something like this? Well, fast forward to today, and that lingering fear hasn't gone away. In fact, conspiracy cultures have embraced the Soylent Green narrative as less of a cautionary tale and more of a prophecy. Modern variants of this fear pop up all the time. Some whisper that aborted fetus tissue have been used in the testing of flavor enhancers by major food corporations. Others claim that cremated human remains have somehow entered the global food supply chain, slipping into additives, fertilizer, or flavor compounds. Still, others suggest that mystery fillers inside the processed foods we eat daily are far stranger and more grotesque than the labels would ever admit. These rumors stick because corporations have already betrayed the public trust. Pink slime in beef, ammonia-washed meat sold as safe, chemicals with unpronounceable names tucked into ingredients lists. Things we were told were harmless until suddenly they weren't. If companies we trust to feed us have already normalized toxic dye, hormone-loaded meats, and genetically altered organisms, then it's not much of a leap, for conspiracy theorists at least, to imagine that they might push it one step further. The Soylent Green conspiracy isn't just about cannibalism. It's about dehumanization. It's about the fear that in the world ran by corporations, people are no longer seen as individuals, but as raw material, consumers on one side of the line and potential product on the other. When you look at how industries already profit from every part of the human life cycle, births, health, pharmaceuticals, even death, the idea of recycling humans into commodities doesn't feel entirely outside the logic of unchecked capitalism. And then there's the symbolism. The elites in the red shoes flaunting their rituals, the whispers of child trafficking hidden in pizza menus, the rumors of McDonald's meat tainted with human flesh, adrenochrome as the prize harvested from the suffering of the powerless. Soylent Green is the final piece of the puzzle, the future that ties all the others together. A world where the system isn't just feeding us metaphorically, but literally. Is it true? Almost certainly not. But the fear lingers because the seed has already been planted. We don't trust what we eat. We don't trust the labels on the box. And we don't trust the corporations that keep telling us everything is fine. Because if they feed us pink slime, ammonia, and chemical cocktails, then the question becomes unavoidable. What wouldn't they feed us? And maybe that's the scariest part of all. Not that we're already eating people, but that we might not even know if we are. And here's the spine-tingling part. Look at the 5 conspiracies together. Red shoes, the elite symbol. McDonald's meat rumors, the corporate feeding ground. Pizzagate, the coded menu and supply chain. Adrenochrome, the prize at the end of all of the rituals. Soylent Green, the nightmare future waiting for us. Individually, they're hoaxes, rumors, exaggerations, but woven together, they tell one continuous story. That we, the public, are both the product and the prey. The elites hide their signals in plain sight. The corporations feed us poison, and somewhere between symbolism and science fiction lies a possibility too disturbing to ignore. So maybe the red shoes are just leather. Maybe McDonald's burgers are just beef. Maybe pizza is just pizza. But what if it isn't? What if the symbols are warnings, not coincidence? What if every time you pass a pair of crimson shoes or bite into a fast food burger, you're brushing up against the machine that's far older, far darker, and hungrier than you've ever imagined? Because if even one piece of the puzzle is real, even one, then the world we live in isn't just strange. It's monstrous. But I'll leave that for you to decide. I bet you won't go into my comments section and tell me what you think. Anyway, I'm going to go get myself a glass of whiskey because this episode was nuts. And I hope you guys have a great Halloween. And until next time, my name's Georgie, and I'm thinking out loud so you don't have to.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Witch Show from What I Think Seriously to You.
WITS, The Witch Show.